Did you hear about how we got going in this path?
Me?
Like either one of you about Best Body Shop?
Yeah.
About the taillight situation?
I
Did you
haven't
ever
heard
hear
about
about
it.
that?
No.
So, at one point I built hot rods out of hot rod shops and out of my garage. And, and originally, Best Body Shop it was supposed to be a custom shop. I had no intentions of doing collision. And there were a few collision, anytime you run a hot rod shop, you're working on collision cars and you're, doing your friends and family. And we had, when we would do it, I used to have this joke with the adjusters. I was like, I don't know why people write supplements. I would just do whatever they said to do. They'd come out with their sheet, and I'd just do whatever their estimate said.
$1,200. I guess that's what I'm getting paid
That's
for
what
this.
I'm going to do, and I'd do the best I possibly can. But we had one guy that came in, and it was smacked in the rear. It was like a rear bumper tail light. Small repair. Again, we didn't do anything big. We were always hot rod. Oh, you got a bumper repair. Let me squeeze it in. So we do this bumper repair, and insurance comes out, and of course they select like an aftermarket tail light. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Okay, so I'm going to order an aftermarket tail light. We're just going to do it that way. And it wasn't. I talked to the customer. I can't remember. We needed to talk for something. I said, hey, talk to your insurance. Everything's going smooth, but there is. They did pick an aftermarket tail light. We're going to go ahead, and they don't fit really that well, but I'll make them. I know how to waller out a hole. I can make it work, And I didn't know what I was doing. I was like,
Didn't know any better.
Yeah, sure, whatever, And he was like, no, I want an OEM tail light. I'm like, oh, well, I mean, your insurance says no. And he goes, well, I want an OEM tail light, Clay. And I'm like, well, but your insurance. He goes, who do you work for? Me or the insurance? I'm like, well, you, sir. I never really even contemplated that. And so I called my insurance buddy. That was my friend that we were. And I said, hey, man, I talked to the customer. That's what it was. On the way out, before all this, he handed me the sheet, the estimate, and he goes, hey, I put an aftermarket tail light. Just don't tell the customer. And that's what prompted me to call the customer, because I was like, well, I might not know what the hell I'm doing all the way. And I didn't know that I didn't know what I was doing, but I do know that I don't like hiding stuff from my customers. So I called him and I was like, hey, just want to let you know, after not that big of a deal. I can make it work. And he's like made this big, who do you work for? So anyway, I called this guy and I was like, hey man, I talked to the customer and he wants an OEM tail light. And this dude just lost it. He was like, what? Why'd you call him? I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. The price isn't that big of a difference, and he was like, I told you not to call him. Do you know who you're screwing with? And I was like, well, Clay, we're worth a ton of money. We have a ton of lawyers. We will run your ass over. I'm like, we went from good friends. I have never written a supplement. The first time
you step out of
on
line.
a tail light. So you know what I did? Put an OEM tail light in it, and I paid for it out of pocket.
No, jeez.
So I had no idea what I was doing. I was like, I guess I just wanted to keep everybody happy. And that was kind of my eye-opening experience to go, man, I thought we were all friends. And I even after that still tried to get along, but I from there got more educated on what it takes to repair a car correctly. Yeah. And once I started digging in and I found out about OEM repair procedures, and again, this is early enough that even OEM repair procedures weren't super clear. So it was like I'm looking at this, lane assist and avoidance collision systems and all these things that are coming out new to these cars and how these sensors read past bumpers and I quickly found out that if I choose to repair a car correctly and I'm honest and ethical with the customer, I am automatically going to be painted as an enemy of the insurance company. Oh, yeah. And the thing that the insurance company has a surplus of is money. And the thing that they have very little of is ethics and morals. They're willing to do whatever it takes. They don't care. And so I remember, you say a bunch of your friends say that you're going to, you won't be able to make it without a DRP.
Yep.
At that point, we had the same where my wife and I sat down and talked about what we were going to do. And we decided to shut down the hot rod shop and go full collision. And we were focused on we're going to repair cars correctly to the manufacturer's guidelines. We're going to not, play this game, and we're going to be fully transparent, fully vulnerable with our customers. And we started down this journey, and everybody, same said, "Oh, you can't do it. You're going to run it into the ground. These insurance companies are too big. They're too powerful."
There's a city full of DRP shops.
A city full of not only a city full of DRP shops. It's easier today than it was back then, because back then you had local shops that pretended like they were your local hero, right? Like you had these places that were donating to churches and doing charity events, and you would think, oh, that's the local. The reality is those guys were just as bad as the big bad corporate shop, but they were hiding behind the owner that had been there for 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was harder to compete against than, let's say, a big, big corporate Gerber or whatever coming in and having no local ties. That's
pissing off customers.
Yeah, I mean, that's okay. Like, okay, we're the local people now, And so I distinctly remember looking at my wife and I go, hey, let's run this thing into the ground. If everyone's right and we can't do this, if we're going to fail, let's fail doing the right thing. Yeah. I'd rather fail doing the right thing than be successful doing the wrong thing. And that's when we got introduced to Barrett Smith, and we got introduced to the world of the collision industry, full of people that are absolutely horrible. I mean, horrible. Like some of the worst people in the world are in the collision and repair industry, acting as if they want to help you, and they absolutely want your money, and they will tell you whatever. The amount of companies that I hired to help me, and the amount of money that I spent for absolutely nothing, actually bad advice, is wild. But Barrett was one person that came in that actually turned the lights on for me, pulled the curtains back, and that allowed me to be able to see how I can turn the lights on and pull the curtains back for my clients. And there was a realization of, if you can just get the opportunity to get the customer to see things
logically, logic-based approach,
they generally are good people and they want to do the right things for their family.
I agree.
And every once in a while you get that customer that just doesn't care, and that's great. Yeah. They are perfect for my competition.
Yes, exactly.
They're
sometimes
great,
they're not for you.
And I don't take any I don't take it personal when somebody's like, dude, I don't care about my lane assist. I just want the damn bumper painted. I'm like, cool. Well, then there's 100 other shops that'll help you,
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that's something we ran into. I remember, so I came from the wholesale world, started out windshield repairs, bumper repairs, doing rental cars at the Pittsburgh airport, doing local dealers around us, seeing a need for some more, decided to open up my shop. And I didn't come from the collision industry. So I started to get a few insurance claims in, and I'm going, wait a second. This doesn't make any sense. Yeah. I know this is wrong, but I didn't know what to do about it. Yeah. And then I see this guy, Clay, on Facebook, hooting and hollering and talking about Barrett. And that's how I came across you. And I came across Barrett, and I said, well, let me give the guy a call. And I said, well, he did it. I said, if he can do it, I can do it, because I know it can be done. I said, and if it can be done, I can do it. And we started that relationship. He taught me a ton of crap. Very, very great guy. Very great guy. My success is based off of his teachings, definitely.
100%.
And I wouldn't have been able to do it without him. And that change of approach, it was like getting punched in the face. Oh. You're like, what is going on here? Like, I'm getting all this pushback. I got letters going out to my customers, phone calls, nasty phone calls. I'm a crook. I'm this. You don't have to do that. You're the only person in that area that
nobody
does that
else
way.
is charging for this.
Yep, exactly.
Well, and it's like they let the dogs loose.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
and they do. They're like, hold on a sec.
Sudden, overnight, you get this like
that switch flips.
And then all of a sudden, everything's hard.
Yeah,
every customer and I think it was for probably 2 years. It was just like, can I withstand how hard they are? Like the insurance commissioner being weaponized against the district attorney that's filing a frivolous suit against us that came to nothing. You know, like
Yep.
it's lawsuit being dragged into a courtroom.
I can't beat you. I'll bankrupt you.
Yeah.
You know, they don't care.
Yeah, going
don't
into
care.
a courtroom and being sued because their total loss is worth less
Yeah.
because of us. And even the judge is going, huh?
Yeah.
How is the car worth? Well, but it was obvious. It was just wasting my time. And here, and you know this, like starting a business is almost impossible as it is.
Yes.
Then you do it in the collision industry doing the right thing. It makes it even harder. Then you get attacked by lawsuits that are, you're stressed about it. You're spending money in attorney fees. You're in a court case instead of painting that car. And there's not a lot of margins. And that's the one thing that you kind of like breaking into here and learning how we operate. You're like, man, when you repair the car correctly, there's not much left over.
No, there is not.
I mean, like when you're charging 70 some bucks an hour, and I know guys in aircraft right now that are making that on overtime personally.
Yeah.
And out of the 70 some dollars that we're making an hour, we have to buy $100,000 booth and $90,000 measuring systems and or benches and measuring like
welders, all this stuff.
And you have dealerships that are doing oil changes for $150 an hour, $160 an hour.
Yeah, yeah.
They're servicing. They're working on cars.
Yeah. Just like that. Just like yesterday with Ken or day before. He's like, what's all these things? I'm like, well, I'll do all that for free if you change the hourly rate to $150.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are you itemizing washing the car? I'm like,
Yeah.
well,
because my labor rate is half of what it really should be.
Yeah,
You know,
and that's what
you got to itemize everything.
and it is. It's one of those things where it's like, well, the insurance wants you to itemize everything out, and they want to only pay a certain amount hourly. And so it's like, if you charge what it actually takes hourly, then they say, well, you're overcharging.
Yep.
Then you charge half, and they say, well, itemize everything, and we itemize it. Then they gripe about what's itemized.
What's funny about that is his exact words after the clear is like, well, that seems pretty reasonable. Mm-hmm. Well, it makes sense to me. Yep. So you have a customer who now possesses the knowledge of, and with a deep understanding of what we're doing to his car related to the repairs, following guidelines laid out by his manufacturer, and he's like, and they're, it was a shift.
But here's the real question: why does it have to be itemized in the first place? Has anybody ever asked that?
I always thought it was a law requirement that you had to do it.
So
honestly,
you're saying we should be able to identify everything it takes to repair a vehicle.
One number, be done. Here's your receipt.
Well, maybe not like that, but when's the last time that you went and had your house, or Taylor, you're getting your house roofed? Did they tell you how many nails they used?
No.
Did they tell you, how many people were working per hour?
No.
Did they? I mean, like, when you got your invoice, was it one page?
It was one page, yeah.
It wasn't 37 pages with repair procedures from the
shingle
manufacturer of how to apply them, and
were they presidential shingles?
No.
Yeah, what that's like the in that world.
Yeah,
is that like an OEM part or an aftermarket part?
But the point is I've never had a plumber give me anything more than one sheet.
Right.
I've never had a sheetrock. I mean, I've done remodels.
I just got a quote to get my house on my side, or my siding on my house on my side. My siding on my house swapped out because my house is 20 years old and it needs new. And I got a front and back page, and it said, okay, we're gonna put this on it. We're gonna need few boxes of nails, we're going to do this flashing, we're going to do these gutters, we're going to do this, has a little number and a total at the bottom and says, there you go.
Yeah.
And that's all it was. It's not, well, I need 37 nails on this row. I need 150 nails on this row.
So that begs the question, why can't a shop that follows all the procedures produce at the end of the repair an invoice $8,852?
Okay. I'm going to answer your question with a question. Why does anything get done the way that it gets done in the collision repair industry?